for Marawi. To keep you posted on updates regarding developments in Marawi, we are officially launching the Task Force Bangon Marawi website. You may visit bangonmarawi.com for Marawi-related news, information, stories, and advisories. A donate page will soon be integrated to the site's features. The Department of Education strives to ensure that the affected youth would continue to learn despite their predicament. They facilitated the distribution of thousands of learners' kits, teachers' kits, chairs, hygiene kits, and temporary learning shelters in coordination with DepEd field offices, DepEd ARMM, NGOs, CSOs, and LGUs. DepEd is also concerned about the learners' health, conducting school feedings and providing psychosocial first aid. Meanwhile, 12 public schools and 7 private schools cleared by the AFP have been opened since September 5, with 2 more opened since November 4. Furthermore, the DepEd Bangon Marawi team facilitated the provision of land allocation for the temporary school at Barangay Sagunsongan and an additional site to be provided by Mayor Gandamra. The temporary school will be in phases 2 and 6 of the temporary resettlement site and is expected to house an estimated 2,350 learners. The Information Management and Strategic Communication Support Group, led by the PCOO and the Philippine Information Agency in coordination with the LGUs and various government agencies, have successfully conducted the second set of Mashwara in the municipalities of Pantao, Ragat, and Baloy in Llano del Norte on November 28 and November 29. More than 1,600 internally displaced persons from 5 evacuation centers participated in these events. Social services were simultaneously provided, including medical and dental checkup by the DOH and free civil registration facilitated by the Marawi city government. DTI also conducted profiling of skills of the IDPs during the event. To facilitate vital exchange of information regarding the situation in Marawi, focus group discussions were conducted among the IDPs. Copies of Bangon Marawi newsletter and information materials were also distributed to them. Parlor games and performances from volunteer artists and Philippine Army mascots were also part of the program. Let me show you another video so that you will see the March or Mashwara activities with the IDPs. As the holiday season approaches, we urge everyone to drop by and shop at the Department of Trade and Industry's Bangon Marawi product store in Makati to help its exhibitors who are home-based IDPs here in Metro Manila. The Bangon Marawi product store features Maranao products such as brasswares, wooden furniture, wearables, Maranao woven products, jewelry, fashion accessories, and Maranao native delicacies. It has already generated total sales of 311,685 pesos since it launched last September 29 all the way to November 10 of 2017. The Bangon Marawi product store will be open until December 29. The IDPs may always direct their queries and points for clarification to the Marawi LGU's grievance desk and TFBM field office, and shown are their hotlines. A grievance help desk hotline of LGU Marawi, you may contact 0906 552 7985, and TFBM field office hotlines at 0929 144 9242 or 0995 356 3965. And that is all for the presentation. To give us updates on Bangon Marawi, we have with us HUDCC Chair, Retired General Eduardo Del Rosario, who is currently the Secretary for the HUDCC, and Assemblyman Zia Alonto Adjong. During the Marawi crisis, Assemblyman Adjong served as a spokesperson for the Provincial Crisis Management Committee and was also involved in several rescue and relief operations. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacanang Press Corps, let us all give a warm welcome to General or Secretary Del Rosario and Assemblyman Adjong.
Okay, Malacanang Press Corps, Secretary Martin, Assemblyman Sia, good morning to all of you. Makikita natin sa ating presentation na ginawa ni Secretary Martin, we can see the different departments of the government na ginagawa nila yung dapat gawin para matulungan natin yung ating mga kababayan sa Marawi City. Ito yung tinatawag natin na whole of government approach in alleviating the present condition of the Marawi residents. Basically, the focus of our interventions are in food, water, electricity, housing, livelihood, and education. And we are presently constructing facilities like wet and dry market, place of worship, health services, and road networks. So these are the focus areas where we will concentrate on so that normalcy can be achieved the soonest possible time. And I can say that as chairman of the Task Force Bangon Marawi, we are on the right track and we are doing our best to ensure that the Marawi City and Lanao del Sur will really achieve what we call Task Force Bangon. So they will rise up from this conflict.
Thank you, Secretary Del Rosario. Congressman Assemblyman Adjong will have an opening statement too.
Thank you. Secretary Del Rosario, Secretary Andanar, members of the Malacanang Press Corps, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The succeeding months mark the beginning of the early recovery stage for the reconstruction and rehabilitation of Marawi City and other affected areas of Lanao del Sur. The successive assessment and coordination meetings of the Task Force Bangon Marawi among its member agencies and LGUs being conducted on the ground monitor and assess the ongoing construction of temporary housing facility and to ensure smooth and uninterrupted delivery of services to the IDPs. Following the termination of the combat operation of the AFP, declaring the main battle area free from stragglers or any resistance from the terrorist group, the LGU of Marawi City, in coordination with the Task Force Bangon Marawi, started to assist the return of IDPs and residents within the controlled area. This process was done through clustering of barangays after government services and health facilities were restored. Marawi City has a total number of 96 barangay with 201,000 population as of the recent population survey. 34 of those barangays are heavily damaged, leading the government to treat the city into two classifications: the controlled area and the main battle area, or as of now referred to as the most affected area following the end of the armed conflict. The post-conflict needs assessment team of the Task Force Bangon Marawi has been conducting a survey on the damage, potential loss of investment, and the general impact of the siege and the crisis that came after it. The provincial government of Lanao del Sur, with its component city, Marawi, has identified 5 priorities to support the national government's effort through the Task Force Bangon Marawi and its close coordination with the regional government of the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao to gradually restore normalcy back in the besieged city. On the physical reconstruction of Marawi, the provincial government of Lanao del Sur has donated additional 2 hectares in the area of Barangay Sagunsongan for the setting up of the temporary housing facility. It is essential to maintain the access for the delivery of goods and the traffic of commuters within the city limits and adjacent municipalities of Marawi. It is therefore important also to maintain the road connectivity of these areas within Lanao del Sur, and therefore we cannot isolate the people of the province within the confines of our territory. Thus, the construction of 2 major highways connecting Lanao del Sur and Marawi City to the province of Bukidnon on the eastern side, and the Taguloan-Kapay Highway leading to Cagayan de Oro and Misamis Oriental on the western side is now ongoing. This will service the flow of goods and commuters of Marawi City, while the main road passes through the most affected area is closed for the start of reconstruction of the damaged assets and properties within this area. We are also in initial discussion with our foreign donor partners for the construction of access road surrounding Marawi City and its city limits, connecting the adjacent municipalities within the province, and which we call the ring road, in order to maintain the flow of goods and the traffic of commuters within Marawi City and even to some extent the neighboring cities and provinces of Mindanao. Road network is essential to spur economic life and trading, which we believe could expedite the recovery of Marawi and Lanao del Sur, for not only are we focused on the physical rehabilitation of the damaged properties, but as well as the rehabilitation of the socio-economic life of the people. By doing so, the provincial government of Lanao del Sur extended livelihood assistance and trainings to displaced women. We have put up a facility for dressmaking, weaving of traditional Maranao garments, and cooking through its Provincial Technology and Livelihood Development Center. We are currently developing this livelihood assistance program by working closely with potential private partners. The availability and quality of income generating resources decline due to this war and other human-induced pressures, the provincial government of Lanao del Sur in Marawi City will not limit the chance of our displaced women to learn new skills and eventually earn and manage their livelihood. By promoting the skills of making traditional Maranao garments, we do not only extend help to the victims, especially to the women, but will also preserve our heritage, which is the source of our identity and our pride. With 22 identified schools heavily damaged, out of the 69 schools under the schools division of Marawi City, the educational sector is one of the sectors that felt the heavy price of this war. Hundreds of our learners displaced, teachers and DepEd staff dislocated from work and from home. The DepEd Marawi has reopened 12 schools as of September 5, 2017, and with an additional 7 schools that will commence its regular classes on December 13 and 15 in the 9 cleared barangays of Marawi City. In response to the need of DepEd to support our learners, the provincial government of Lanao del Sur initiated the provincial scholarship program and has granted full academic financial support to 500 elementary students, 500 high school students, 1,000 college students, because we believe that much is to be done and to uphold the rights of our children to access quality education, and we will develop this further in the coming years. In view of educating our children with the status of the siege and their role in rebuilding our city, we believe that countering the spread of radicalization among our youth must be put primary consideration. In view of this, the provincial government of Lanao del Sur, in partnership with AFP Tabak Division, sponsored and launched the Bangon Marawi Youth Camp last August and was participated by 50 displaced youth selected from evacuation sites across Iligan, Cagayan de Oro, and Marawi. This youth program has been continuously conducted by the provincial government to include youth from various municipalities, and just recently concluded the Bangon Marawi Peace Camp in the town of Marantao. To defeat violent extremism and violent ideology, which is the root cause of this war, we need to partner with our community, engage continuously with the stakeholders, for we believe that the attainment of peace is not only and must not be limited as a job for our security forces, but it is everybody's concern. Peace is not only an abstract word, it is a duty and obligation of everyone. The Provincial Peace and Order Council has adopted several resolutions to counter the spread of violent extremism and radicalization among our youth. By working closely with the religious sector, traditional leaders, and civil society organization, we were able to come up with a bigger and much broader approach dealing with the problem of violent extremists. With the regional Darul Ifta of the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, the provincial mufti and the sultanates of Lanao issued a fatwa and declared terrorism as un-Islamic. This is a progressive step towards gaining support from the ground, from the mass base, and to disarm the terrorists from using our religion to recruit potential fighters. And of course, to invalidate entirely the spread of their false teachings. The damage this war incurred is not only on the physical structure, but as well as on a more personal level. Thus, this early recovery stage of the reconstruction of Marawi, we need to reestablish community relationship, repair social relationship, and to rebuild social institution to further reinforce our narrative for a rehab plan that is conflict sensitive and peace promoting. A rehabilitation that will guide the process of social healing. Healing, both its social and medical connotation, is as important as the physical reconstruction of the damaged area in Marawi City. Demand for health services has gone up exponentially due to this war. As a way to support the medical services by the Amay Pakpak Medical Center, the provincial government of Lanao del Sur and the city government of Marawi City through the IPHO has been conducting medical missions and have been moving around municipalities across the lake by using the provincial mobile clinic since the siege started. Psychosocial intervention is also been provided by our combined team from the PNP, the AFP, the DSW, DDOH, and DepEd. Once the post-conflict needs assessment team is done with the assessment work, and the finalization of the rehab plan. The province is confident that under the Duterte administration, through the Task Force Bangon Marawi, led by Secretary Del Rosario, can usher in progress, peace, and development to the city that took the beating in order to keep other areas of this country safe. We are confident that TFBM, or the Task Force Bangon Marawi, can and will rehabilitate Marawi and Lanao del Sur better than her old self. Thank you very much.
MPC questions? MPC question? Alvin Baltasar, Radyo Pilipinas.
General Del Rosario, good morning po.
Sir,
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Sa likod.
Sir.
Okay.
Sir, magandang
Nakablock
umaga
ka
po.
kasi.
Sir, ini-open nyo na po ba yung bidding para sa mga contractors para doon sa rehab ng Marawi?
Well, actually, we are not going to conduct bidding. Ang ginawa natin dito, we called all probable developers, big-time developers, foreign and national. We allow them to see the most affected area, yung 24 barangays, and they will be submitting their unsolicited proposal. Pagka na-submit yung unsolicited proposal, I will have it presented to the cabinet para ma-decide kung alin yung the best concept na pwedeng i-apply sa Marawi City. Kasi dapat makita natin dito na talaga at the end of the day, it's a new city, lalo na yung Central Business District, at talagang mapapaganda natin, hindi lang better, but much better. Pagka na-select yung isang proponent, this will be subjected to Swiss challenge. But that any developer can challenge that development project with corresponding amount. Let's say, sinabi niya, we will do it at 100 billion. Here comes another developer. Oh, we can only do it. We can do it similarly for 75 billion. Pag wala na nag-challenge at hindi kaya nung initial proponent, yung 75 billion, the project will go to the other developer. So, parang mas better ito at mas mabilis na gawing proseso instead of bidding. But instead, we will go to the mode of Swiss challenge. Parang bidding din, pero faster and better.
Questions, MPC? Laila Salaveria? I'm sorry.
Secretary Martin, gandang umaga. Sir, kahapon doon sa bicameral meeting, parang ang inalat lang na budget ay 10 billion pesos. Samantalang nung nag-guest dito sa Bangon Marawi press con, si Mayor Gadambra, sabi niya ang estimation niya, kinakailangan umabot at least ng 90 billion. Ano pong reaction ng palace doon sa 10 billion?
Sa palagay ko naman ay merong sapat na basihan din ang ating mga congressmen at ating mga senador sa budget na ibinigay nila para sa Task Force Bangon Marawi. And I can also assure you na meron namang extra funds ang ating gobyerno, and when the time arises na kailangan yung pondo na yon, it will just be up to the President to request from the Department of Budget and Management para mabigyan ng dagdag na pondo itong rehabilitasyon ng Marawi. Ngayon nga, meron 5 billion for December at hindi pa ito, hindi pa lahat na gagastos itong 5 billion eh. So, the public can be rest assured, lalo na yung mga kapatid natin na nasa Marawi, na sapat po ang pera ng gobyerno para sa pag-rehabilitate ng Marawi.
In addition to that, Sec Martin, yung let us not be misguided by this 10 billion and the 90 billion na sinasabi ng local government. Actually, ang iniintay natin, yung resulta ng post-conflict needs assessment. Pagka natapos yun, maipapactor in na natin ang total damages, opportunity loss, and rehabilitation costs. Kukunin natin ngayon itong resulta ng post-conflict needs assessment. Ipapasok natin yung LGU Master Development Plan as well as the Provincial Master Development Plan. Andito ngayon yung Recovery Rehabilitation Plan ng provincial government. Ito, still will be subjected to NEDA validation and assessment. So ang hintayin po natin, yung final na resulta na Total Comprehensive Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Plan na gagawin ng NEDA. At we are assured by NEDA that they will be ready for the Comprehensive Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Plan on the last week of March. So yung mga nadidinig po natin, kwan lang yan. Mga estimates, pero yung final will come from NEDA, and that will be the official costing that will be required to rehabilitate based on NEDA assessment. Kasi mga technical experts ang gagawa nito.
Sir, clarify ko lang, expected po natin last week ng March.
Last week of March,
Okay,
kasi we'll be consulting so many experts to come up with a total package. Kailangan very meticulous yung proseso natin. Close to reality yung sasabihin nilang figure. But nevertheless, before na ma-receive natin yung Master Rehabilitation Plan, yung sinabi ko kanina, that will be the focus of our early recovery efforts para matulungan natin ma-bring back ang normalcy. Kaya nagtutulong-tulong ang lahat ng departments at the moment, even without the Master Rehabilitation Plan or the costing that will be submitted by NEDA.
Okay, thank you, Alvin. Laila?
For Secretary Del Rosario, sir, do we already have a policy on whether we will be compensating the owners of private properties that were damaged in the conflict?
We don't have any policy yet. We need the PCNA so that we can see the total picture. And I think by that time, we will crop up with the policy direction that would be approved by the President.
Question? MPC? Joseph Morong.
Okay, Sir Jong, I've been monitoring your Twitter, so
Yeah.
I would like to pick your mind about the BBL. You've experienced firsthand, no, the effect of violent extremism, and they say that the BBL will solve, if not solve, but pero can help, no, avoid that kind of incident again. Why do you think that is so? Personally,
Well, number one, of course, BBL is a product of a negotiation between MILF and the government of the Philippines. It has been going on for more than 2 decades, I guess. Although it will not really solve the transnational crimes, the spread of global terrorism, but it will, in some ways, cover up the issue of social narrative injustice, which has been used by this terrorist group as a means to recruit further fighters. And they've been using the issue of self-determination, the aspiration of the Bangsamoro people as their platform to recruit fighters and potential fighters. If we have partnered with other, like for example, the MILF, we partner with them as one of our partners to really maintain peace and order in the area. Experience would tell us that information and policing the villages and communities by the locals themselves would be much effective in trying to guarantee peace and order in the ARM. That's one. If we have the BBL and there are provisions in the BBL that can assimilate, can incorporate the fighters from being rebels, they will be decommissioned and they will be part of the military asset of the Philippine government, then I think it's much easier and effective by using them as a means to really curb the rise of violent extremists in the ARM.
with regard to that security aspect, I think in the present BBL, what they have proposed is parang an independent Bangsamoro police. That has been a source of issue before in the past administration. Do you agree with establishing a separate Bangsamoro police?
I think it's a matter of really maximizing the resources the RMM can provide insofar as maintaining the peace and order situation in the country, specifically in the ARM alone. But it will go through Congress because the PNP has, with its national character, there's no PNP. Like you try to say, for example, regionalize PNP, it will still be under one umbrella, under the PNP. So it can go through a process of debate in Congress. But I think it's one of the positive exploration. For example, if we try to look into the feasibility of such proposal, I think we're talking about BBL, and it will offer so many changes and reforms in the Constitution once Congress would debate on federalism and perhaps lead on to debate on the BBL. Then it's not something that we can explore. The idea of that.
Now, how do you fit the BBL in the efforts of this present administration to push for federalism?
Well, I think President Duterte, being a Maranao himself in a local of Mindanao, is very much endowed with the historical knowledge of the Moro people. He himself is a Moro, is a Maranao, and in order to really incorporate the provisions of the BBL, I think in relative to the proposal to federalize the country, it's only a matter of using the BBL, the provisions, as the governing laws for the proposed Bangsamoro state. It doesn't have to be, there are so many methods and so many, means of adopting a federal form of government. It's not really universal all over the world. We can have and introduce this federal system by way of also making it sure that it will be responsive to our cultural differences and identities. So we can actually use BBL as the governing laws for the proposed state, Bangsamoro state. Not necessarily dissimilar with other regions, because you also have to federalism. You have to make a law that is responsive to the needs and aspiration, unique, needs of each region. So we can. There's so many avenues to really incorporate these two, to reconcile these two.
All right, sir. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
Okay, Chona, you. Microphone, please.
Assemblyman Zia, sir, just would like to get your thoughts on martial law kasi December 31. Is there a need? Kayo po yung nasa ground zero.
I think it would depend on the ground troops and how the Task Force Bangon Marawi would assess the situation on the ground. Remember, the post needs and assessment team will not only conduct its assessment based on the damaged properties, but the impact of the siege, the crisis itself. As a local, I would say the end of the war does not necessarily mean the normalcy of the peace and order situation. Actually, we've been saying this all along. The crisis will really start after the war. And there are several reports that we've been receiving that the recruitment activity is now ongoing in some other towns. So we fear that if we probably be lenient about imposing security protocols, the terror group might use this as a portal to form and regroup again and then attack another town, which basically that's what we've been saying all along. They will attack another town, not necessarily Marawi City or Lanao del Sur, but maybe some provinces. So I guess it's a matter of necessity and protecting the civilians that would put primacy as far as the national government would decide whether they will lift the martial law or they will maintain the imposition of martial law in Mindanao.
Okay, General De Rosario, you have reaction on that?
Well, I would like to appreciate yung sinabi ni Assemblyman Sia. It's really very important that we can continue to ensure that the whole area, not only Marawi City, but the whole of Mindanao will be secured from any terrorist threat. Umuugog na ngayon at nakuha natin from intelligence reports yung massive recruitment na ginagawa ng kabila, promising so much amount of money as high as 100,000 pesos just to be recruited and be a member of the ISIS group. Kaya we support the statement of Assemblyman Sia. We will be coordinating with the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police so that we can properly assess and make the necessary recommendation to the President as to the extension or not of the martial law in affected areas.
But for now, sir, would you recommend the extension of martial law?
Personally, I would like that martial law will continue during the rehabilitation phase because as chairman of Task Force Bangon Marawi, my main concern is the security of the whole rehabilitation effort. Just imagine if something will happen in Marawi City during the rehabilitation phase. Baka wala nang pumuntang mga contractors at laborers. May hirapan tayo sa rehabilitation. Kaya ang sinasabi ko nga on the ground, hindi lang physical structures ang dapat natin pagtuunan ng pansin. But also, we need the involvement and support of the entire citizenry to be with us in the rehabilitation. And that's not only in the physical structure, but in the security aspect. Kailangan sila mismo, they should drive away or neutralize yung spread ng recruitment ng ISIS group in Mindanao. Not only in Lanao del Sur or Marawi City.
Okay, Chona?
Sir, sabi nyo, personally you will recommend to the President. We're talking of how many months more?
I said, personally, yun ang aking pananaw. Ano? We
Like
will
how
consult with the right authorities, Armed Forces of the Philippines and the PNP, and I hope we can be together in tandem with the civilian government. Kasi after all, alam nila nangyayari on the ground. They should know better. And the source of information will come from the barangays kung saan nagsisimula ang mga recruitments. And sinasabi sa atin, Assemblyman Sia, massive ngayon ang recruitment. And we do not like to have another Marawi incident.
Okay, thank you, sir. A question, BC?
Assemblyman, kung kayo pong tatanungin ng Presidente, ano pong isasagot nyo doon?
But that would depend on the situation on the ground. No, to say that we want to maintain or to lift, it's still premature because the pre-assessment and its team is still conducting its assessment work, and the military and the police is still continuously doing the retrieval operation in the main battle area or the most affected area. So right now there are reports that recruitment activity is going on, is ongoing. So we really have to decide based on what's happening on the ground. But if I would be asked right now, I think the necessity of maintaining martial law dictates that kailangan talaga dahil may pockets of recruitment pa nangyayari dyan surrounding the lake.
Okay, last two questions. Dexter Ganibe. To be followed by Raymond Tenasa.
Magandang tanghali po. Yung sinasabi niyo pong recommendation, posibleng recommendation niyo po sa Pangulo, extension ng martial law, would it be Mindanao-wide or sa Marawi na lang po?
It depends on the assessment of the AFP-PNP. Kasi ako as chair ng Task Force Bangon Marawi, ang aking tinatanong lang naman itong rehabilitation. Pero the AFP and PNP, ang tinatanong nila yung kabungan. So if ever it will be extended, and the recommendation will officially come from the AFP and the PNP.
So, supportado niyo po yan?
Yes, definitely.
Thanks, sir.
Secretary Martin, you have comment on that. Raymond Tinasa.
Kay Yusek Del Rosario. Sir, yung mga nagbigay po ng mga pledges from the international community, I understand may mga galing sa US, China, Japan, Australia, and even European Union. All in na ba? Tinanggap ba natin or we still studying? Dahil may mga kondisyon ng Pangulo sa pagtanggap ng mga grants or even mga donations.
As mentioned earlier sa briefing ni Secretary Martin, yung Department of Finance ang magkakaroon ng hub para dito sa mga pledges. And yung lahat ng mga donations, most likely coming from other countries, they're also waiting for the Master Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Plan. Kasi it's premature for them to give any amount dahil hindi pa naman niya alam kung magkano ba totality na kailangan. Kung sinabi sa PSNA, ng NEDA, resulta ang kailangan $1 billion. So they will know what amount they can give. Kung sabihin naman ng NEDA, ang kailangan natin $3 billion, which is 150 billion pesos. So they are waiting for that. Yung resulta ng PCNA and the comprehensive rehabilitation and reconstruction plan that would be coming out from NEDA.
Secretary Martin, sir, nabanggit nyo kanina yung project ng DTI. Meron silang parang showroom sa Makati. Aside from Makati City, kasi baka may interested din from Luzon and other parts of Visayas and Mindanao. Wala tayong balak na parang expand to other mga supermarkets para mas malaki yung mga interesadong bibili ng mga Maranao or Marawi products?
That would be ideal, Raymond. I'm not so sure sa inyo, Assemblyman, kung meron kayong mga products na binibenta sa Cagayan de Oro at sa iba pang iligan. Maybe you can answer the question of Raymond.
Sa ngayon, pinapartner pa na, naghahanap pa tayo ng conduit natin, no? Maging partner natin para pagbebenta ng mga local products. Lalo-lalo yung mga finished product na nagagawa ng mga displays at ng mga displaced persons, yung mga kababaihan. Pero meron na po sa Gaisano, Robinsons sa may Iligan and Gaisano City. Doon po yung nabibenta yung mga produktong yun na gawa po ng ating mga na-displaced na pamilya, lalo na yung mga kababaihan. Kasi mostly, ito pong mga produkto ay mga malong, traditional malong, mga garments po na ginagamit ng mga kababaihan.
Okay, last question, Alvin Baltasar. Microphone.
Sir, makaiba lang ako sa Marawi. Kaya Secretary Martin, sa Monday and Tuesday may transport strike. When do we expect any announcement from Malacanang, whether kung may suspension o wala, this coming Monday and Tuesday?
Kakausapin ko muna si Executive Secretary Bingbong Medialdea patungkol sa topic na yan, sa transport strike. But going back to Marawi, natanong ni Raymond kasi, again, I'd like to reiterate that we've launched the Bangon Marawi website. So for the viewers right now, the listeners, please visit bangonmarawi.com and you will see the different sub-sites from home about Task Force Bangon Marawi, the stories, news, and soon we will also have a donate box here. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar. Thank you, HADC Chair Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario, and Assemblyman Zia Alonto Adniong. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas.